Andrea Leadsom.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now, I'm sure you will remember that film Groundhog Day. Well, as I stand here today, I have that strange feeling of déjà vu, and it is incredibly frustrating. 2.5 years ago, members in this chamber had what was a very fraught debate about what should happen to the Palace of Westminster. And now, to my regret, here we are again, revisiting that very same topic. So in preparing for my remarks today, I looked in Hansard at the debate we held on the 31st of January 2018. And I want to remind the House of a few of the key points when I was Commons Leader at the time, made. First of all, 24/7 fire patrols carried out by teams of officers are necessary for Parliament to maintain its fire safety licence. With 7,500 people working in the Palace and over 1 million visitors a year, the risks are immense. And over the past 10 years, 60 incidents have had the potential to cause a serious fire. Second, there's a huge amount of asbestos packed into the walls and used to lag ancient pipes that needs to be carefully and expensively removed before repairs can begin. Third, many pipes and cables stuffed into the basement and throughout the palace are literally decades past their lifespan, with some now being impossible to access. And the likelihood of a major failure of sewage, of burst water pipes or of critical systems grows the longer the vast backlog of repairs and maintenance are left unaddressed. And fourth, we know that falling stonemasonry has on several occasions, just in recent months, forced parts of the palace to be closed off, and it's only by sheer luck that no one has been injured or killed. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, it's not a case of whether we fancy moving out or staying here. It's that if we don't move out, all of the evidence points to a disaster that will force us to move out. And if and when that happens, as I pointed out in 2018, the contingency arrangement for a catastrophic failure in this palace is a temporary chamber in a building in Parliament Square using curtains and temporary wiring. It's designed to last for a few weeks at most. So that is the truth about the current situation, and it's why in January 2018 this House agreed that we need to take action. The Palace of Westminster is a World UNESCO Heritage Site. It's one of the most famous buildings in the world, and it's the seat of our democracy. And even if we cared not a jot for any of those facts, we still don't have the option to walk out and, as the SNP would like, to simply hand the keys back to the Queen. It is our duty to maintain this iconic palace for the more than 1 million visitors each year from all around the world. Madam Deputy Speaker, about 75% of the costs of work on the palace is non-cosmetic. The money will be spent dealing with mechanical and engineering works, and it's aimed at preserving essential services for future generations. This isn't about carpets and curtains and wallpaper. But when I first looked at the issue of restoration and renewal, I started out, like many colleagues will be today, with a healthy degree of scepticism. I was told, let's use the Lord's Chamber whilst ours is repaired. Let's build a chamber in Westminster Hall. Let's have a floating chamber on the Thames. Let's move into Church House, which was last used for Parliament in World War II. All excellent ideas, and each one has been painstakingly and seriously considered. But then came the horrific murder of PC Keith Palmer and a major review of security that identified that elected members of Parliament should in future be secured within the palace perimeter to keep us, and vitally those who protect us, safe from harm. And that fact, combined with the obvious need for a permanent contingency plan for future generations, clearly pointed to establishing a permanent and alternative contingency venue for the Commons to be able to meet and work within the palace perimeter wall. Now, I absolutely share the concerns of all colleagues. I will give way.
Although, of course, we have proven now that we can work virtually if we have to.
Indeed we have, Madam Deputy Speaker, and we've also shown that we need to be in this place, at least some of us, so that we can continue to do our work properly. So I absolutely share the concerns of colleagues that we must get best value for taxpayers' money. So I certainly welcome the sponsor body's review of the plans to move to a rebuilt Richmond House. But I do urge those colleagues who are lobbying that we should stay in the palace with no contingency arrangements and allow this vital work to go on all around us to accept that this is not realistic. The day I visited the basement for the first time, a sewage pipe had just burst. I was sure they'd done it deliberately. I couldn't walk through because there was a stinking spray right along the passageway. It visibly demonstrated the challenge that our engineers are up against. And Madam Deputy Speaker, don't get me started on the asbestos snots that are all over the walls down there as a result of old pipe lagging. Who knew? Horrible. So much to repair, although I am pleased to report to the House that I no longer have a rat in my bin. I've moved office to Portcullis House and that rat has also moved on. Madam Deputy Speaker, the last time the palace was restored was because it burnt down. And those who believe we should not spend this money should consider the cost of rebuilding from the ashes. We have seen the devastation that happened at Notre Dame, and it would be unforgivable if we allow a similar disaster to happen here because we can't be bothered to move out. And on the hugely positive side, the sunlit uplands, the restoration and renewal of this magnificent palace will create employment and training opportunities, apprenticeships and economic growth for small businesses and craftsmen and women right across the UK. It will showcase UK creativity and ingenuity, spotlighting the best of British. It will provide work to thousands of individuals who in a post-COVID world will surely need it. Madam Deputy Speaker, this should rightly form a part of the Palace's historic legacy and its place in the world for future generations to come. Thank you.